you ever feel lonely or be lonely? It's quite different though, feel lonely than be lonely. When you feel lonely, even though you have people around you, it's because you have a huge gap inside you. Nothing is fitting you. You're not happy with nothing. You don't feel like no one understands you, or you don't feel like you have really someone close to you for speak about your feelings. Is that maybe because you don't feel comfortable with the people is around you? Or do you think maybe it's because you meet someone? Maybe you meet someone and you don't know. Or maybe just you have to change your life and your thoughts. And then you feel lonely because maybe you start a new stage on your life. Welcome to Lights Up. About more than half the population globally feel lonely. People now these days feel more lonely than before. People say it's because of the technology. Since we have technology, actually, we just become less sociable than before. And we use technology for socialize, use for talk, for call. We don't have the thing like, I don't know, I'm gonna meet you in some place and that hour that they used to go, the people in the 80s. But there is something which is so worried about it, and it's like people start to feel more lonely every time. Every now and again, people feel like no one is basically understand them. They feel misunderstood. They feel like nothing is really good for them. Is that maybe because we really are lonely? Or is because we think we are lonely, but we are not? Some people like to be alone, and there is nothing wrong in that, but there is most people who doesn't like to be alone. There is a lot of people who doesn't like to be in silence, and they don't like to be with themselves. It's like something is wrong inside them, or there is something like really disturbing them. Do you ever feel lonely? Do you think it's better be surrounded, 20 or 50 or maybe 10 people, but you still feel lonely? Or do you think it's better be surrounded to yourself and feel fulfillment? There is any reason why you feel lonely? Do you think maybe it's because you have a traumatic events on your life who is basically impact on your mental state and you still feel like you're attaching them? One or another thing is something is sure. You are not alone. You are more than a precious, just human who have feelings. I don't think so people realize how important is believe on themselves, how important is love themselves. Because when you feel lonely, something wrong happen, and as you feel frustrated, and that frustration make your brain have bad thoughts, negative thoughts, either about you or about the people. You start then judging yourself. You start then see yourself bad. You start then dislike yourself and the things you do, and then that is ending on make bad decisions who you always will regret. And that's because you feel lonely. Do you ever thinking like maybe you are not alone, maybe you're not lonely, maybe just you're not have take a good decision, a decision who be maybe surround the good people, a decision who you maybe take better thoughts, like a positive thoughts. Maybe it's time for you to change your life. Maybe it's time for you to change your job. Maybe it's time to you to change your thoughts. Do you ever thinking like there is something new coming for you? And when I mean something new, is something like a new stage of your life. Because all when I say people, if you feel lonely, it's because you are not in the right place. You're not with the right people. Either though sometimes is our own family, which is the most painful thing, because you can feel lonely when you are surrounded your family. But let me tell you something, people. No matter if it's your family or not, you will feel lonely if that's not your place. You will feel lonely when you don't feel love. And we're expecting someone in life, either our parents, either our friends, is love us. But do you realize like you have to love yourself first? Do you release your brain for the bad thoughts? Do you realize like there is someone can love you? No one can love you if you don't love yourself. It's impossible. If you want people to love you, you have to love yourself. If you want people to respect you, you have to respect yourself. And that's obviously, isn't it? And also, what are you scared for? Are you scared to be alone, or are you scared to be lonely? Because if you're scared to be alone, well, you don't have to be scared in this life, because basically we all gonna live. Yeah, we all gonna die. I'm sorry, guys. Just for some people who listen to me or hear me and thinking maybe I'm sarcastic, but that's life. Death is part of life. None of us is immortal. None of us will stay here for eternity. We live the essence in our eternity, depending how we done things in life. Then people will thinking about us. They will remember about us, like we remember about our ancestors. Let's say maybe mom, dad, cousin, sister, brother. I don't know. But you never have to be scared to be alone. What surprises alone as well is like as a lot of young people have thoughts like they want to fit in this society. They want to fit in these massive groups. They want to fit in with something or someone who really lead them and let them believe what they're doing is right for not be lonely. There is a lot of young people now, even not young people, like to be in a partnership because they're scared to be alone. What you don't understand is not about to be alone. It's about know yourself. If you know yourself, if you observe yourself for who you are, who you want to become, what you will do, what you are doing now, and why, then you will start to realize there is something must. You meet a new person, you meet the new you. You start to realize how important you are. When you look yourself in front of the mirror, you don't see a piece of shit. What you see is the most important person of the universe, and that is you. You have to understand. You have to why yourself. You have to really think about what kind of person you are. Why you don't like you. Why you are scared to feel lonely. Why you thinking you are not good enough. Because I think when we feel lonely is we tend to judging themselves, to please ourselves, guilty, like, oh, maybe it's my fault, oh, maybe it's because I done something wrong, maybe it's because I'm talking like that, or maybe because I have that kind of, I don't know, people call them weirdos, or oh, maybe it's because I'm too much intelligent, or maybe it's because I'm too much stupid. Do you realize like maybe that people is not good enough for you? Maybe that people